Listen, so rabbinic Jews need the New Testament. Do you agree with that?
No, I do not agree with that.
Okay. Why not? Why not?
I don't agree with that because I don't think that anything ethical was changed in the New Testament.
Hmm.
You can
Hmm.
derive all of our ethics to uphold
Hmm.
a good life. You can be a
Uh-huh.
good man without
Nice.
needing any new ethics or teachings
Okay.
from the New Testament.
Okay. Would the ethics change when God made a covenant with David?
Where the ethics change, the ethics
Yeah.
were so. To my understanding, it goes as follows: the ethics were revealed essentially in the
Uh-huh.
Torah, right?
Uh-huh.
So that was with Moses.
Uh-huh.
And so those are the ethics that we Jews try to,
Hmm.
and Christians as well,
Yeah. So
right? And Christians as well.
when God made a covenant with Melech David HaMelech, David the king, was uh was the morality change? Was the ethics change from Har Sinai?
Not necessarily. What do you mean by that?
Well, what do you mean by the fact that since the ethics weren't changed, we don't need the New Testament?
Well, I think that you guys, being Christians, would still follow the same ethics that is revealed in the Torah, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that God doesn't still make a new covenant. Jeremiah 31 tells us that God will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, unlike the covenant he made before. Therefore, there's something faulty in the old covenant and makes the necessity of a new one.
So what is faulty with it?
Well, that's what God said. God is the one who said it's faulty.
God said that through who?
Yeah.
Jeremiah.
Well, does it,
That's I think the difference here. We don't necessarily derive our theology from the writings or the prophets. We use the Torah, strictly the Torah, right? And you can use others to write commentary or derive other
hold on,
things, but for
hold on. Is that what
yeah, sure.
Judaism teaches? Is that what Judaism teaches?
It's not a My view is not like the most orthodox view, I guess you could
Okay.
say.
So
Um,
I'm looking. So my thing is, yes, baby. Hi, give me 2 seconds. So you don't follow normative Orthodox Judaism, right? You would agree. You follow a Rabbi Asher Meza type of Judaism. Agreed?
basically, yeah.
Okay, you do. And so the problem is that your position doesn't work, right? Because you are at odds with your own sources within Judaism. What if I showed you a source that said all of it was given to Moses on Mount Sinai?
No, we only believe that the law was given, right?
You believe that, or does Judaism believe that?
There's no how should I say? There's no consensus,
Were
right,
you brought up
amongst
Jewish?
Jews.
You
Yes,
brought up Jewish?
yes.
Okay. You went to yeshiva?
I did not go. I went to public school.
האם אתה מדבר עברית? מדבר עברית.
I do not speak Hebrew.
All
I
right.
told you
So
I did
can you
not
put
go
up
to
my
yeshiva.
screen? No, it's all good. Avery, can you put up my screen real quick? I'm going to show you how you're at odds with your own Judaism, right? This is Berachot 5a written around the year 500, okay? And this is very authoritative source. This is the Gemara of Berachot. And
Yep.
basically they're doing a commentary on Exodus 24:12. It says, I will give you the stone tablets, the Torah, the mitzvah that I've written that you may teach them. Now, before I say, I just want to say Asher Meza, I consider him a friend. I like Asher Meza a lot. But this is a commentary on Exodus 24:12, where God gave Moses the tablets, okay? And look, they're going to explain. It means that God revealed to Moses not only the written Torah, but all of the Torah as it would be transmitted. And it goes on to say the tablets, when the Bible says tablets, these are the 10 commandments he got on Mount Sinai. The Torah, these are the 5 books that were given to Moses. When it says mitzvah, this is the Mishnah, the core of the oral law that I've written, refers to the prophets and the writings. That you may teach them, this is the Talmud, which explains the Mishnah. This explains that all of these were given to Moses from Mount Sinai. From Rabbinic Judaism's perspective, all of these have the same level of authority, and they were all given to Moses on Mount Sinai.
I see that's where I would disagree. Obviously,
But you don't disagree with me. I admit that you
yeah,
disagree
no,
with the Talmud.
I'm not
You
disagreeing with
disagree
you.
with the Talmud.
Of course, there are contradictions. There are objectively wrong statements in the
Uh-huh.
Talmud. Like that's known,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
not every
So you,
you know writer of the Talmud is like an authority, right? So like I don't hold them as an authority, and I would say that many Jews don't hold all teachings in the Talmud as an authority, right? So
So let's do this. Okay. So you disagree with Judaism. This is a Jewish source. This is a rabbinic source, right? And you agree that that many religious Jews would disagree with you, right? Saying that you can
Yes,
just pick this up and put this down, right? You agree this is not normative Judaism, right?
I do agree that this is not
Okay.
what they teach you at Chabad. Yes.
Okay. You would agree that the Mishnah is authoritative.
Yes, I would
Okay.
say so. I mean, I would say
What
so.
does
Sure,
the
we can go with that.
Mishnah is authoritative, right? If you follow Asher Meza Judaism, then it's the Torah and the Mishnah.
Okay.
Or are you deviating from Asher Meza Judaism as well?
I've only been on like one of his lives, so
Okay.
I can't confirm.
All right, all right,
Yeah,
all right. Let me show you a passage. I want you to think about this, and I love to
yeah,
talk to you
sure.
some more, right? But let's go to Exodus 25, uh, 25:40, I think it is, and we've talked about this before in the stream. Let me actually find the exact one for you. Um, Exodus 25:40. Yeah. So let's do this. All right, Exodus 25:40. Let me show you something. When he's showing him all of the implementations that are going to be used in the tabernacle in the Mishkan, okay? He tells Moses to make them after the pattern that was shown you on the mountain. What was Moses shown on the mountain?
Moses was shown the Ten Commandments, the Torah.
No,
No.
this is the tabernacle. He was shown the implementations and the dishes from a tabernacle in heaven,
Okay, I follow your point.
right? Is Exodus in the Torah? The
It
first five
is.
books? Is
Yes,
this authoritative for you?
100% it is.
So, what this is telling us, and look at what the rabbis tell us. The rabbis go on to say that Moses literally saw the Mishkan, the tabernacle, and the vessels from the tabernacle that exists in heaven.
Okay, I follow.
Okay. So, is there ever a tabernacle without a kahuna, without a priesthood?
No.
So, that means there's a priesthood from heaven that we have from the authoritative source of the book of Exodus.
Okay, I follow.
So this priesthood is the priesthood that the Messiah serves at, which is outside of Levite.
Hmm.
So what I'm saying is, even in your own authority, what you consider the most authoritative, Exodus 25, it's proving to us that there is a tabernacle in heaven. There's a priesthood in there. And therefore it shows us that there's a priesthood in the book of Exodus that's greater than the priesthood of Leviticus.
Yep, I follow.
And so without the other five books, without any other books after Exodus, and without the New Testament, you don't know that priesthood that's from heaven. This is why you need the New Testament.
And so your position is this priesthood that Moses saw is the priest of what, the Messiah of Jesus?
This is the Melchizedekian priesthood that Melchizedek served at. And this is one the Messiah serves at that goes back to heaven and predates Melchizedek.
Okay.
So this is why you need a New Testament.
So in your opinion, how should I word this? In your opinion, you think that the covenant that God gave, the old, what you would call the old, is
Mhm.
no longer valid because of what?
I never said it wasn't valid. Neither did Jesus.
So then why do we need a new one?
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
When God told Noah to build the ark, could God tell Noah, I'm good, man. I'm just not going to go inside the Garden of Eden. I'll stay out of it. Was that okay?
So when God told Noah to build the ark, and
Could he just say, I'm good. I'm going to do like Adam and Eve and just not go into the garden? Could he opt out to not build the ark?
could Noah have opted out?
Yeah.
I mean, he had free will. He could have.
Would that have been an appropriate response to God that would have
No,
been
of course not.
honoring to him?
Of
Okay.
course not.
So when God told Abraham, Lech lecha, leave your land, leave your place, go to the place I'm going to show you, he goes, no, I'm good. Instead, I'll build an ark. Could Abraham do that?
No.
Right? Okay. Now let's go forward. Okay. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, you go to Joseph, he frees the people up. God appears to Moses in a burning bush. The Malach Adonai, the angel of the Lord, appears to him. He says, Moses, go deliver my people. Would it be appropriate before a holy God for Moses to say, You know what? I'd much rather just leave where I'm at and go to a different place like Abraham.
Mm. Oh, sorry, I didn't catch the first half of
Would
that.
it be appropriate for Moses to say, I don't want to deliver the people? I'd much rather
No, of course
just
not.
do
Of course
what
not.
the other, right? So then we go forward to King David. King David's called to be the king. God makes a covenant with him. Is it appropriate for David to say, you know what? I don't want to really be king. I don't want to rule the king. Would that be pleasing to God? And he just says, look, I'm just good to go up to Mount Sinai and receive the 10 Commandments.
No,
Why is that not appropriate for him to operate in covenants that existed before only?
because, well, if David was given instruction from God,
Mm-hmm.
right, then that is by honoring God, he should follow these instructions.
He should operate in the covenant that's in existence at his time, right?
Okay, I follow.
No, I asked you a question, young man. He should
Should he
operate in
operate?
the covenant. He should operate in the covenant of his time, right?
Okay, yes.
Right. So when the new covenant's made, as it states in Jeremiah 31, you and I should operate in the covenant that's in existence at that time. We can't go back to Mount Sinai, correct?
Here's where things are different between you and I's perspective.
How
So
is it different if it's a covenant that God makes with his
because
people and he calls his people to?
because in Jeremiah, right?
You have a decision right now. You have a decision right now. I'm going to just help you out. You
Okay,
have a decision right now to be honest and say, you know what, that's a good point. Let me go think about it. Or you could try to dance with this and it's just going to make you look silly.
I'm not
So
dancing.
do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. But I'm just
I'm
letting
not
you know.
dancing. I'm explaining
You
my
know.
position. All right. So
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm just trying to help you out. You know. But go ahead.
okay, like I said previously, the point of the prophets, the point of the prophets is not to add a new covenant, right? So that's where you're getting this idea of the new covenant from Jeremiah, right?
Did God make a covenant with Noah?
Don't believe so. No.
Whoa, bro. Yeah, he made a covenant with Noah to never flood the earth, and the covenant was with the whole earth. But Noah was the
Okay, sure,
basically the
sure. I see
steward
what
of
you
what
mean.
he would do.
I
That he's
see
not
what
going
you
to
mean.
flood the earth.
Okay.
But then he makes another covenant with Moses. Then he makes another covenant with David. And God is progressively revealing himself in covenants and redemption history. And he does it in the Messiah as well, with a new covenant that we find inside the prophets. And the Hebrew Bible tells us, Moses himself says that you have to listen to the prophets that come after.
Yes, Moses does say, "Listen to the prophets." Okay.
So therefore, why are you not listening to the prophets? Why do you say that we don't have to listen to them?
Because it contradicts what was
What?
revealed in the Torah.
Where do
Because
the prophets contradict what was revealed in the Torah?
because you in your understanding, this new covenant, right, is the covenant in what? The New Testament, right?
The New Testament literally means new covenant,
Okay.
which
And
is in
so
Jeremiah
and so
31.
and so why do Jews need to follow the New Testament when we have our old covenant in which
Uh,
nothing is really changed or improved upon?
because there's constantly God. I don't know. I feel like I went through this already, Avery, right? um, you just literally yourself admitted that in the time of Abraham, you can't go back to Noah. In the time of Moses, you can't go back to Abraham. In the time of King David, you can't go back to Moses. So if we're in the new covenant, the covenant of the Messiah, we can't go back to David, Moses. We can't go back to Mount Sinai. We
That's
have
what
to
you believe.
operate. We have that. This is literally what you agreed with me with in the history of what was in existence, right? So if you want to operate by the old covenant, where is the Beit HaMikdash?
Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. So how are you relating to the God of the earth without there being a temple?
Because there's other ways to pray without being at the temple.
You're missing the whole point, brother. Missing the whole point of it, right? That covenant is inoperable in many ways because the temple is laid in ruins. You always have to operate in the governing covenant, like we proved in Daniel 9:24 to 27, which you said you were going to refute. Okay. Daniel
I didn't say
9,
I was going to
24 to
refute anything, to be honest. I said I can respond to some of the stuff you said.
Oh, okay, okay. So Daniel 9, 24 to 27 gives us the time that the Messiah is going to come. According to Rashi, the leading Talmudic exegetes and Torah exegete in the Tanakh and inside the Talmud, he's the number one exegete. He tells us that this time period is going to be in the 1st century, where the Messiah, where this time period that they're talking about is the timeline of the Messiah. Judaism teaches 6,000 years of existence of the world, 2,000 of chaos, 2,000 of Torah, 2,000 of Messiah. We are in the year 5,000 and something. We are in the time period of the Messiah. Even according to Judaism, we're in the New Covenant.
Well, technically, the Messiah is not mentioned anywhere realistically in the Torah, right? You don't
The
even need,
Messiah, is
like,
he? Is the Mashiach not mentioned anywhere in the Torah?
explicitly
Is-
mentioned.
He's not explicitly mentioned. The idea of a Mashiach is not explicitly mentioned in the Torah. Where's the first time that the word Mashiach appears in the Hebrew Bible?
I have no idea. Where is it?
It's in Leviticus. That's why the Messiah has to be a priest, my friend. And this is who Yeshua is. This is why you need the New Testament. And just to kind of bring this thing back home, right? Kind of take it back to the beginning. The reason why you need a new covenant is because the Hebrew Bible looks forward to a new covenant. Moses desires that the people's heart would be circumcised. This is a mark of the new covenant, not just on the outside, but on the inside. And this is something only the new covenant could do that the prophets look forward to. And even the sages of Israel tell us it started in the 1st century. So you can feel what you want to feel, but you're at odds with the sources of Judaism and the Hebrew Bible itself. But I appreciate you coming on up, man.
All right. Well, yeah, my phone's about to die anyway. I gotta go.
All right, man. Hey,
Like
I'm
I said,
available to you, man. If you want to talk offline, let me know, all right?
all right. Thank you, Radar Apologetics.
Appreciate it.
If I could say one more thing before you drop me
Sure,
down.
man. Go ahead.
Like I said, I don't think this is a traditional Jewish view, right? This is not
Mhm.
something that Chabad teaches or you'll learn, but I do think that some of the stuff that I said made some sense. I think some of the stuff you said made some sense, but I think we're just at odds a little bit in terms of our understanding, but that's fine.
Yeah. Look, I'll
And
say
so,
this, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
oh no, that was basically it.
Yeah. So I'll just say this. I really want you to examine your position that everything has to come from the Torah. And I want you to look at what Moses says about the prophet coming after, right? Because in the Torah itself, which you find as authoritative, requires you to believe the prophet and
Yep.
also gives standards by judging prophets. So your position is really a self-refuting one, respectfully.
All right.
All right, man.
I'll take that into account. Hopefully
All
I
right, man.
back up and discuss at a later time.
Cool, man. Love to talk to you again, man. Blessings.
All right. I'll see you. All right. Bye-bye.